Good morning, everybody. This is Damon Bond of Bond Realty Group, licensed real estate broker in Connecticut, licensed real estate salesperson in the state of New York. Hope everybody's doing well. We had our Northeaster yesterday. I hope you people are shoveling yourself out. It wasn't too bad in this area. I mean, we had I think less than a foot of snow, which was good. It passed. Hopefully, finally, spring will come towards the end of March. So hope everybody's doing well. All right, so we're going to continue our quest discussing the home buying process. We talked about a number of things. And once again, if you have any questions, you can email me at dbond011@gmail.com, dbond011@gmail.com. That's D as the first initial of my name, Bond, B-O-N-D, 011@gmail.com. If you like it on Facebook or YouTube, you could like it or share. That'll be very helpful. All right. So everything's in place. So you got your mortgage contingency, meaning that you'll get the mortgage. Everything's been going good. The inspection came back positive. So now what? So there's a couple of things you have to do in the closing process. Number one, homeowners insurance, Number two, the walkthrough. And number three, we're going to have the actual closing and closing costs. So let's deal with the first thing first. As you get closer to your closing date for your house, your new house, you're going to be required to take on homeowners insurance. Now, if you're paying cash for a property, you don't need homeowners insurance. However, I recommend that you get homeowners insurance. You never know what happens. So if you're getting a mortgage, you're going to need homeowners insurance. Shop around, just like you do for auto insurance, shop around for homeowners insurance. Sometimes your auto insurance carrier will give you a break, a discount if you also become a homeowner insurance policy holder with that company as well. But the best thing to do is shop around and see that. Now, when you're getting homeowners insurance, sometimes they'll make you pay at closing. Sometimes they'll make you pay the year up front. Sometimes they'll just make you pay an installment of that. It all depends. It varies from insurance carrier to insurance carrier. But that's certainly what you're going to need to do. And you're going to have to show proof that you got the homeowners insurance. So that's the first thing. Now, as a subsection of homeowners insurance, some properties you buy may require you to have flood insurance. Flood insurance is not covered by homeowners insurance. It's different. So usually if the property requires flood insurance, the selling agent will tell the buyer's agent, your real estate agent, that yes, this property does need flood insurance. And it's not always visible because just because you live by a beach or a pond or a river or something like that doesn't necessarily mean that property needs flood insurance. It could be the property, 5 houses down that needs floods insurance. Now, how do they determine whether a property has needs flood insurance? I don't know. I guess they'll do a statistical analysis where, this area floods so many times when there's heavy rains. I really don't know how they do it. But the thing is very different. Flood insurance can be costly. However, and I did this once before, if the sellers, the people who are selling the property, have a great rate for flood insurance, you can actually have that policy transferred to the new client, to the new customer, which would be you, the home buyer. I've done this before with many of my clients. It's relatively easy to do. So that's certainly something you want to consider if the property requires flood insurance. If it doesn't, if your house requires flood insurance, it doesn't mean that a flood will happen in the house. It just means that it's more likely to. In fact, many properties, there's never been a flood. They have finished basements. And what have you. It never flooded. It's just a precautionary measure. So don't be alarmed if the property does need flood insurance. And properties that require flood insurance usually don't have a difficult time selling compared to properties that don't require flood insurance. So just keep that in mind. So that's the insurance aspect. Our next aspect you want to look into, but we'll do, is what we call the walkthrough. All right. Now, what is a walkthrough? Usually, generally speaking, 24 to 40 hours before you do close on the property, your real estate agent, he or she, you'll meet them at the property and you'll do what's called a final walkthrough. The purpose of the final walkthrough is to make sure that if some items had to be repaired from the inspection, they're to be repaired. You want to make sure that nothing's broke. So, for example, that chandelier that was promised, you want to make sure it's in good working order or they didn't remove it. So that's the purpose of a walkthrough. So walkthroughs don't take that long, depending on the size of the property. This is to make sure that the property is broom clean, delivered broom clean. You want to make sure that everything that is supposed to be in place is in place. Everything that's supposed to be, repaired is repaired. Or let's say nothing needs to be repaired or there was no, contingency clauses that something had to be fixed or removed. You just make sure that the house is still there. And so that's what it is. And you're able to be there and you look over it and that's it. And then you go to closing. So the last part of this is the closing costs. Usually a week or a few days before you close, your attorney will give you a call and let you know, this is how much you need to bring to the table. Now, it's not going to be surprised. Don't worry. You'll get this from your mortgage company before you close. So it's not going to be like you got to come with, $20,000 and you had no idea. So you'll have an idea of how much money to bring to the closing. So when you go to the closing, you can expect to spend a good amount of time there, maybe an hour or so, depending on how complicated the deal was. And basically, you sign all these papers. You sign origination fees. You sign this. You sign that. You initial here. You date there. You sign here. You print here. It's a plethora of paperwork that and if you're buying the property with someone else, like a wife or a partner, something like that, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it may be, they're going to be doing it also. So that's the closing. And when you go to the closing table to the attorneys, usually you're going to have to need a certified bank check. So they're not going to accept a personal check, not cash, a certified bank check. And that's what you bring to the closing table. And like I said, and then once you do that, you get your keys, and then a house officially becomes yours. Congratulations. You've just went through the home buying process. Now, another aspect we can't forget is your attorney. I didn't mention about attorneys. You're going to need a real estate attorney. You want to get a real estate attorney who, generally speaking, is also a litigator. Not all attorneys are litigators. In other words, they just sit in the work, they sit in the office, they do the paperwork. So you want somebody, just in case things go awry, they're not afraid to go to the court. That's what a litigator is, somebody who's going to argue before the court system. So you want someone preferably who's also a litigator. So always ask, are you a litigator as well? They'll have to say yes or no. Don't get me wrong, though. You have some attorneys who don't go to court, not litigators, but they're fine. They're perfectly fine attorneys. I used them before. This is just from experience, because I had one time a deal didn't go right. The client wanted their money back. The people refused. The attorney was not a litigator. So I referred this individual to a litigator who's also a real estate attorney as well. And she got all the money back. Didn't have to go to court, but just the aspect of going scare the pants out of other people. And we wind up getting her money back, which was good. So these are some just things to consider in terms of the process. I know it's been long. I know it's been hard. But finally, you have arrived. And, there may be a slew of things you want to do to the property. You want to change out the carpet or change the tile or paint and everything like that. Just take your time with it. If the house is intact, we don't have to worry anything about it. Now, I'm going to do two separate of these videos dealing with short sales, which are different from regular properties, and bank-owned properties, because the process is a little bit different, but more or less, though, the closing is the same. And so now you are a new homeowner. Congratulations to you. Those are the steps pretty much for a regular transaction. And pretty much that's it. So if you found this very useful, just like it, share it, please. Any questions, you can send it to me on Facebook. And once again, you can email me, dbond011@gmail.com, dbond011@gmail.com. All questions, all observations, all comments are more than welcome. So with that said, stay warm. Hopefully spring will be here soon. If there's any questions, please email me, contact me, Facebook. And with that, be well, stay warm, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.